In 1975, Kodak created one of the most important inventions of the modern world. It wasn't a new kind of film. It wasn't a revolutionary camera, it was the world's very first digital camera. The technology had the power to change photography forever. Yet the company that invented it spent the next 3 decades protecting the business it already had instead of embracing the future it had created. By the time Kodak realized the world had changed, it was already too late. This isn't the story of a company that failed to innovate. It's the story of a company that became afraid of its own innovation. This is the rise and fall of Kodak. Long before smartphones or social media, taking a photograph wasn't easy. Cameras were expensive, complicated, and usually reserved for professionals. That changed in 1888 when George Eastman founded Kodak with one simple idea. You press the button, we do the rest. For the first time, photography became something almost anyone could enjoy. Families captured birthdays. Vacations became memories. Weddings, graduations, and childhood moments could be preserved forever. Kodak wasn't just selling cameras. It was helping people remember their lives. As the years passed, Kodak became one of the most recognizable and trusted brands in the world. By the middle of the 20th century, millions of families had at least one Kodak camera in their home. It seemed impossible to imagine a world without Kodak. But the company's greatest challenge wasn't another camera manufacturer. It was a technological revolution that was still years away. By the 1970s, Kodak wasn't just leading the photography industry. It had become photography. Nearly every family photo album, vacation, birthday, and holiday memory was captured on Kodak film. At its peak, the company controlled almost 90% of the film market in the United States and generated billions of dollars every year. Kodak's iconic yellow boxes could be found in homes, drugstores, and camera shops around the world. The company employed more than 140,000 people and was considered one of America's most successful businesses. From the outside, Kodak looked untouchable. It had the world's most trusted brand, loyal customers, and a business model that had worked for decades. Few people questioned whether film would always be part of everyday life. But inside one of Kodak's own laboratories, an engineer was quietly working on an invention that would challenge everything the company had built. In 1975, a young Kodak engineer named Steve Sasson was given an unusual assignment. His job was to experiment with a new electronic image sensor and see what it could do. Months later, he built something no one had ever seen before. It weighed nearly 8 pounds, recorded images onto a cassette tape, and took more than 20 seconds to capture a single black and white photograph. By today's standards, it was slow, bulky, and impractical. But it proved something extraordinary. Photography no longer needed film. Kodak had just invented the world's first digital camera. When Sasson demonstrated the invention to company executives, the reaction wasn't excitement. It was concern. Digital photography had the potential to replace film. And film was the foundation of Kodak's business. Executives feared that if digital cameras became popular, customers would stop buying film altogether. Rather than leading the next revolution, Kodak chose to protect the one it already owned. It was a decision that would shape the company's future for decades. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, digital technology improved faster than almost anyone expected. Cameras became smaller, images became clearer, and computers made it easier than ever to store and share photographs. Kodak wasn't standing still. The company released digital cameras of its own and invested billions of dollars into new technology. But there was one problem. Kodak was trying to build the future. Without letting go of the past, every digital camera it sold threatened the film business that had made the company successful for generations. While Kodak tried to protect both worlds, competitors like Canon, Sony, and Nikon pushed digital photography forward without the same hesitation. Then the internet changed everything. Photos no longer needed to be printed. They could be shared instantly with anyone, anywhere in the world. The way people captured memories had changed forever. Kodak saw the future, but it never fully committed to it. Just as Kodak struggled to adapt to digital photography, another revolution quietly began. It wasn't another camera company. It was the smartphone. In 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone, putting a camera into the pocket of millions of people. Over the next few years, smartphone cameras improved at an incredible pace. People no longer needed to carry a separate camera on vacations, birthdays, or family gatherings. The best camera became the one they already had with them. At the same time, platforms like Facebook and Instagram changed the way people shared their lives. Photos were no longer printed and placed into albums. They were uploaded, shared, and viewed instantly by friends around the world. Demand for traditional cameras continued to fall, and Kodak's decades of dominance could no longer protect it. The company had survived countless competitors, but it couldn't survive a world that no longer needed its products. By 2012, Kodak's financial problems had become impossible to overcome, after more than a century as one of America's most iconic companies. Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Thousands of employees lost their jobs. Factories that had once produced millions of rolls of film slowed to a fraction of their former output. A company that had helped generations preserve their memories was now fighting for its own survival. But unlike many businesses that disappear completely, Kodak didn't vanish. The company emerged from bankruptcy a year later with a much smaller focus on commercial printing, imaging technology, and industrial products. While the Kodak name still exists today, it no longer holds the place it once did in everyday life. For millions of people, Kodak became more than a brand. It became a reminder of a time when photographs weren't measured in gigabytes, but in moments worth waiting for. Kodak didn't fail because it lacked talented engineers. It didn't fail because another company invented something better. In fact, Kodak saw the future before almost anyone else. It even helped create it. The company's greatest mistake wasn't failing to innovate. It was believing its greatest success needed to be protected instead of challenged. Every successful business eventually faces the same question. Do you keep defending what made you successful yesterday? Or do you risk building something even better for tomorrow? Kodak chose to protect the past. The future moved on without it. Sometimes the biggest risk in business isn't changing too soon. It's waiting until change is no longer your choice, because by then, someone else has already built the future. But hindsight is 20/20.